one of the big boys actually found out what we were up to, and they came down and they placed a multi-million-dollar PO with the shop that we were working for to kick us out.
Bro,
there is nothing better than to have that happen to you as a founder, because now you go. Now there's no backing out. Now there's a fight, and I love it. I don't forget easy.
That's what I like about you. That's what I like about you. And Texans don't forget easy. Remember the Alamo. He is doing something truly unique, not only in Central Texas, but across the internet. And he is winning in a very established competitive space that is cowboy boots, which is it is a product that I get excited about. Everyone, welcome to the show. Will Roman, founder of Chisos Boots. Will, get in here. Yeah.
Is this working?
Yeah, it's working. You sound good and you look good.
Let's go.
Hey, should I put on a cowboy hat too? I feel that I should.
Of course. Why don't you have that boom mic that's built for cowboy hats?
I think it is, man. Let me
look. I dug this like 1980s relic out just so I could wear the hat.
Now we're matching, big boy.
You're looking good.
Man, I am so excited to have you on this platform. I do want to know, I know you know this, but a lot of our listeners don't. Part of the reason why I love Will is that he was one of my first customers with my very first D2C brand. This was 40 Acres Coffee back in the day, selling beans, slinging beans over the internet. Well,
the best.
It was so good, at least for a while. No,
I still miss that. Every time I get a coffee roasted, I think about 40 Acres and Chris Hall and those magnificent beans.
I remember at the time you were living in this swanky place right next to the river, and we were physically delivering the beans at the time. I mean, we were doing things that didn't.
It's because you're a product guy. It was the best product. I mean, no one's topped it.
Well, I appreciate that. Well, man, give us some insight. I know that you are in consumer now. You're in Ecomm, and you guys are crushing. I think, and I'm biased here, but I think you have got the best product inside of cowboy boots that are readily available for people to purchase. I think you got the best.
I appreciate that.
But man, if you would give people some background on you and how you got here, because it's not like you have been slinging boots on the internet forever. You've done other things before you got here.
Yeah, I mean, I think like the best things in life, I walked into it ass backwards. I love that. I mean, look, so I was born in Austin, Texas. I'm a native Texan. And, my first pair of footwear, I'm sure, were little red cowboy boots. I've got all the photos of me as a kid are in little cowboy boots. And so, like, it's here in Texas, boots are not just footwear. They're part of the mythology of who we are. They're part of being a Texan. And when you walk around, it doesn't matter if you're interacting on the did I lose you guys?
No, you're good. We're here, brother.
Perfect. You disappeared. I was like, where'd you go? But the point being is that it's in the water here, right? Like, you're not just a rancher wearing boots. It represents this idea of responsibility. And so for me, the point being of all of that is that boots have just always been in the background of my mind. And so I've got an interesting background. I moved out at age 15. I had a screen printing business. I did a bunch of random stuff. I went to the University of Texas.
Let's go, baby.
Let's go. You know. And but after doing a stint in the tech world, I found myself, I had a motorcycle accident. I messed up my back and I couldn't wear my cowboy boots anymore without wrecking my back anyway. Now I'm stubborn, so I'd wear them anyway. But one day I was out in West Texas in the shadow of the Chisos Mountains. I mean, you couldn't write a better script. and I was like, there's got to be a better way. Now, here's the backstory too, which is that 5 years before that, I actually moved into my 97 4Runner and lived out of it for months and drove down to Belize, went all throughout Mexico, ended up in the jungles of Palenque. That's a whole nother story. Wow. But I discovered León, which is the leather capital of North America. And so I wanted to build a cowboy boot that was extremely comfortable, but was also well made. It wasn't using plastics, and one of the things that I'd seen that just didn't really exist. And so there wasn't a big giant vision. It was me. I started cutting open cowboy boots and seeing how they were made. I got books from Half Price Books. I started YouTubing it like everybody does. And next thing I know, I was down in Mexico. And I don't know. I can tell you more, but what do you want to know?
Wow. Well, I find that compelling. I find it compelling because I share the same feeling about the aura of cowboy boots. Obviously, I didn't grow up here in Austin. I was outside of Dallas, but early 90s, Garth Brooks, country music taking over Americana, and knowing cowboys, rodeo pros, and no, just having that kind of feeling. I mean, at the same time, the Dallas Cowboys were at their peak, of their play on the field, and just having that kind of atmosphere around. It made me want to embody all of that. And there's something unique about boots that allow you to do that. It's not just footwear. It's not another kind of shoe. It feels like when you step into them, for me, it feels like you're stepping into a persona. You're stepping into a way of life. You're being grounded in roots that really speak to a significant amount of the country. That's what I feel are behind Chisos Boots. Are behind boots in general, but especially yours, especially Chisos Boots. But the thing,
can I jump in on that? I know this is your show, but that gets me so excited because, the cowboy is the quintessential American.
Exactly.
And there was this. Check this out. I was in Cape Cod, Massachusetts, wearing my Chisos boots. We had just launched. I was going on a big road trip, and this guy walked up to me. We start talking, and he finds out about the boots, and he's like, "Listen, man, Texas is the America of America." Let's go. And I'm like, that's the idea. Is that when you put it on, it's not just like I said, it's not even just like you said, like a persona. It's a heritage thing. And there's this idea that you now are a little bit representative.
Yeah.
You've got to carry yourself differently, and that's what cowboy boots are.
Yeah, it's the cowboy is the quintessential American icon. It's the symbol of America. Pioneering, frontier, settling the Wild West, manifest destiny, the American dream. It's there's something about that I think really speaks to the culture. It speaks to the country, and it speaks to our history. Here's the thing, though, brother, I would have no clue how to actually make my own boot. I wouldn't have a clue. And it sounds like you went to the place and space yourself. You were there in León, Mexico, and you were into the entire process. I mean, just describe what that's like, because to me, it's a total black hole. I would have no clue how to get into it.
Yeah. So, I mean, look, let me compress this for the sake of this little segment here. But the idea is that, there was a lot of help here in Texas. There's a lot of resources that I got. But ultimately there was this element here of either you're going to come be, an 8-9 year apprentice for a bespoke boot, or like, we don't want to help you because you're competition. And when I went down to León, again, I'd been there before, a little bit familiar, but the big shops didn't want anything to do with me. I wasn't showing up, being able to place, 20,000 orders. I'm still not placing 20,000 unit orders. And, but I found a father-son workshop, and they let me, I rented an apartment down the street.
Come on, baby.
And I was there for 4 months, and I was like, teach people what I don't know. And so I was able to use the machines myself. We use all this old equipment from the 1920s. And I could, we use hand channel welts. We use real leather, veg tan in the heel counters. We're not putting in plastic shanks or plastic toe boxes, none of that stuff. And the thing was that, like, I basically was like, tell me what I don't know. Wow. And then also I had the ignorance of being like, let's not do this big factory method. Like, I get it. I understand why you would want to do that when you're putting out 500,000 boots a year, but we're not going to do that. We're going to do them right. And so that's kind of the merger, where it was like my curiosity and just, I almost naivety about wanting to make something exist merged with their craftsmanship, produced this marriage of like a cowboy boot, full leather construction that also thinks about, what about the way the arch support is angled? What about the heels? What about the support when you're walking? What about impact dissipation? I can write you a whole essay on that. And so it was this unique time where I was single, I didn't have a wife, kids, and didn't have a job. I was like, you know what? Mexico's a lot cheaper. So just kind of figured it out. And then along the way, my buddies were like, wait a second, we want a pair.
Yeah. Yeah, we do. The things that I love about this, number one, this is founder energy. Metab Bogle of Card Adventures, we had him. Of course, he buys a lot of D2C brands. And what he has said continually is, if you want good manufacturing, get on a plane and go to that place. Oh, yeah. Build a relationship. Depending on where you are, that day of business may look like being out all day drinking together and then, shaking hands at night. But what I love about this is that not only were you willing to get on a plane, you went and moved. You went there, you rented an apartment, and you were there in the process every day. And what it sounds like was being rejected by some of these larger shops. Actually, what it did was it helped you actually make a better product than anybody else on the market. Is that fair?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I won't name names. One of the big boys actually found out what we were up to, and they came down and they placed a multi-million-dollar PO with the shop that we were working for to kick us out.
Bro,
And there is nothing better than to have that happen to you as a founder, because now you go. Now there's no backing out. Now there's a fight, and I love a good
wow.
fight.
That's incredible, man. That is like real teeth competition. So they came down on purpose and they placed an order there to like try and box you out so that you could not.
Yeah, essentially. I mean, look, there's 4 major manufacturers in Mexico that are producing 90% of what you see here in the United States. It doesn't matter what brand is on it, whether it's Lucchese or Tecos or Justin or Dampo. It doesn't matter. Most of them are all going to the same couple of big giant shops. And so they've got to protect their factory space. I get it.
Wow.
And so no harm, no foul here. But I don't forget easy.
That's what I like about you. That's what I like about you. And Texans don't forget easy. Remember the Alamo. I mean, Texans don't forget easy. You know, it's a long memory there. Well, tell me, I feel like the product creation and the quality and the time that it has taken, the unique way that you guys develop your boots versus some of the other competition, I feel like that is embodied so succinctly inside of the famous video of you cutting the boot open. And of course, cutting some other boots open that are not yours and showing the difference. Why do you think that has resonated so much? I mean, I've seen it so many times and it's just as powerful each time. Why has that resonated so much?
I mean, if I had to guess, it's just because it's honest. It's not polished, kind of like this cruddy webcam that I'm doing here. It's just real. It's genuine. And so when we make stuff here at Chisos, we don't have actors. We have me and we have people that I know. And we don't make stuff thinking about some sort of market segment. We make it based on what we think is interesting. And with that one, I mean, it was this combination of, at that time, I'll talk explicitly here. Is that at that time, Tecovas was already massive, and they were on their big upswing. And so everybody was claiming, oh, you're just a clone. And there's 300 boot makers out there, right? There's 300 brands. And so when people would come into the shop, we had one of their boots cut open. We had some Lucchese's cut open. We had some Chisos cut open. And I said, why don't we put this online? And that's what we did. And so all we do is we just hold them up and we show you, here's what we're using. And by the way, since then, we have actually even gone even further. We don't stop in trying to improve this boot. In that version, boot, we have a 4mm veg tan leather heel counter, and we've now doubled it to 8. And I actually had to fly a cobbler from Canada who knew how to do it down to Mexico to teach us how to do this particular thing.
Seriously.
Yeah, we don't stop on making them better. And so I think there's that simple energy. Like, here's the thing, to quote a very famous film character, I'm not a smart man. And so all we do is the basics, and we just do them well. And we don't put any spin on it.
I love that. Well, I think that probably leads into how you can compete with companies that I would just guess are literally operating on a 100x scale. Some of them.
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, that product development, that time, the uniqueness, flying in the guy from another country who's the only one that can teach us how to do it. I mean, but give me some wider perspective too. How do you guys compete with the big boys inside your space? It's a question that all of us want to answer and want to be able to do for whatever widget or service that we are offering on the internet. How do you compete like that?
Sure. And just to give a little context right here, Justin Boot Brands is owned by Berkshire Hathaway, right? They're the biggest boot brand in the world.
Wow.
Lucchese has been around for 150 years. They're between 150 and 200 million a year. And you've got other players in the space. And of course, you got the darling now, Tecovas, right? And they're, my estimates based on what they're manufacturing is, they're between 350 and 400 mil.
Wow.
They are literally 100 times our size. They also have 1,400 employees. And let me put credit where credit's due. Chris over there is crushing it at the marketing game.
She is. She
is spectacular. They're finally doing the things that a brand of that size with those types of, being based out of Texas should be doing. So
Agree.
That's a tough spin. And for a while, we were loving Tecovas marketing because we were like, keep doing that, guys. It's helping us. But, when she got on board, it upped the stakes.
Yeah.
And so how do you compete with someone when they can outspend you 100 to 1 and they've got 200 times your employees? Product. Here's the thing, is that their entire company is built around a certain model. They've got to produce hundreds of thousands of units. And in order to do that, you've got to cut a couple of corners. You got to start using thermoplastics. And look, and their audience, by the way, their audience doesn't really care for the most part, because they're just using them to go out every once in a while.
Right.
And so it's a fair product at a fair price. There's no shade being thrown here. But the way that we compete against them is that we build a better mousetrap. And so and then the thing I had to learn, which you were calling attention to with the videos, then you got to tell people and you got to show them. And I think that's the thing. I can get out there and claim all these things. They can claim them too, and they're going to be able to push that message larger, and it's going to look better. And so the only way that we've competed is word of mouth. Wow. Now, obviously, we're throwing in our own organic to that too, but we're starting to see this, that curve is starting to look the way we want it. And all of our surveys are like, how did you find out about us? The number one thing is word of mouth.
Oh,
number two thing is other people posting on YouTube about us. Wow. And then finally, our own ads, which we started posting. We started doing ads 6 years in, because I'm an idiot, and and then they hear about it from our content. But the thing is, it's like people really dive in. The product actually matters. Now it takes longer. It took I didn't drop 180 million in venture capital into this business. I dropped zero. But it's finally paying dividends, and then now we have the independence, and we have no debt, and we have margins that are keeping us in business. Let's put it that way.
I love that. And there's a number of things that I love about that. That number one marketing channel being word of mouth, that was the same kind of signal that we got at Bruce Bolt, which went on a hockey stick. Went on a hockey stick run, which comes down to product. You actually have to build a better mousetrap. Yeah, you actually have to. You have to. Yeah, you have to.
It's here's the thing, is that like I don't know. I'm not a marketing expert. I'm certainly not a spreadsheet wizard. So all we did is we made something that I wanted to exist. Yeah. We made it well. I wanted to make grandpa proud, so to speak. And then in terms of how we tell people about it, we literally just interact in our real life. This Saturday, I was out in Waco at Homestead Heritage. Some buddies live out there. They've got Mustangs that they're getting from BLM land. They're bringing them in. They're doing natural horsemanship, and they're training them in. And so guess what? We just went out there and hung out, and Demetri took a couple of pictures. And like, that's our marketing. It's not a set. It's not some big $20,000 budget. It's literally just hanging out with the people that we know because we're from here. And it's an old school, true small business. And the good news is that they can still compete. Now it's going to be slower. That's what you got to accept, and the guys over at, all the brands that we named, they're going to retire. They're going to have some a lot nicer accommodations than I'm going to be hanging out. That's all right. That's all right. This is the path God put me on, and I'm happy to be walking it.
Well, I think the underlying promise of e-commerce, the underpinnings of why we all get into it, one of the tenets, I'll say, is freedom. And having started with no VC capital, having taken the slow way of actual organic growth, really embodying the product and the people that love who you are and what you do, I think it's obviously paying dividends. One of the things that you do that I find compelling is your HQ on South Lamar or South First. On South First, having that space, to me, I wish that so many apparel brands that I have worked with could have it. I know not everybody can, but I see it as a real asset to you because it allows people to enter into the brand, so to speak, have an experience, a physical experience, be able to come and find you. They're coming in from out of town. They can come visit you. Maybe they say, hey, Will, I'm bringing 12 people. I'm bringing 20. We're coming in town for this conference and we want to come and do this and that. Talk about that. Is that the reality? I'm sure it comes with some headaches as well, but I see that as a real asset to everything that you're doing.
Here's the deal. So when I set out to build Chisos, it wasn't to build some giant e-com business. I've reluctantly realized all these things. Like, I want to make another boot, and then I realized, okay, I got to sell it. And then I reluctantly realized I'm an e-com business. And now I'm like, dang it, I'm in marketing, I guess.
Yeah, that's true.
And so Chisos HQ is this manifestation, this place that I wanted to go to, and I wanted to hang out, and I wanted to spend time at. If you think back to the village, right? The village has got, you've got the church, you've got the green space, the commons, but you have this small stretch of commerce. And this is this thing where you go in there and you talk to, like, I don't know, Mr. Smith, who runs the hardware store, and then you've got the local food thing, etc. And so Chisos is filling this space as the cobbler. And we are just simply a merchant along the journey that people are on. And when they come into this space, I want it to be about them. And I want it to feel this place where they get to step into this idea of this Texas that used to exist.
Yeah.
And hopefully will exist again. And what I mean by that is that to me, Texas represents this concept of warmth and friendship and rugged individualism merged with community aspects. And it's this very unique thing in America. And I've traveled all around. And so it used to be that was the default. You know, I mean, Lubbock used to have like 200 rodeos within an hour's drive.
I saw that.
We're all online. We know what's going on. And so Chisos is this little outpost, this little corner of the world where I want to try and make that exist again. And so when you come in here, it's imperfect. I look around, I see all the flaws, but it's more like walking into a living room. It's not really set up like an actual retail store. We happen to do that here. But when we got this spot, we got it in COVID. It was a staffing agency. They had to get out. We had to move in. And so this is everything. We were fulfilling out of here. We're hosting people. But it is this small sample of the bigger vision that we want to make with Chisos.
I love that. I love that so much. And I feel for the success of any kind of apparel brand, I'll just say categorically, I really feel that for that thing to succeed with a specific market, specific crowd, a specific niche, the founder or somebody inside of that thing needs to be that niche. And I think, of course, you are. And I'll say that I feel that when I enter into that space, that kind of Texas you're describing. And talk to me about this year and what you guys have coming. I know that your catalog has grown. I mean, you're selling lady boots now. You know, you've got the reserve, the exotics, that come out. But man, what are you excited about in 2026 as you guys keep growing?
Man, I have to talk about that anniversary edition boot just a little.
Yes, talk about it, man.
Because it was such a big deal for us. So, like I said, we got out. So I guess if you look at the way the company grew, step one, we just got to exist. Step two was like, oh, we're not a clone. Let me show you that. And then the big thing was, okay, everyone knows, okay, you're an upper end. That's what you guys are doing. But Lucchese. And I was like, what Lucchese's never done is they've never taken the founders now, we're generations down, but the owner, you would say the current owner has never gone out to East Texas himself, gone down to Anahuac, gotten in a boat, hooked a gator on the line, got it, reeled it in, skinned it, to get tanned, exported it down to Georgia, built the best cowboy boot ever made, brought it back and delivered it. That's what the anniversary edition is. So it is the penultimate Chisos boot is the anniversary edition. Texas wild hunted gator. Anyway, I get fired up.
Incredible, man.
I'm sorry.
It's incredible. I mean, there's this trope out there that I think is largely true, that people don't buy your widget necessarily. They buy the story. They buy what the thing can transform them into. And man, when you're describing all of that, I mean, there's so much packed inside of that. Going to East Texas, founder hooking the thing, skin that baby, make boots, one of a kind, truly one of a kind boots available. I mean, there's so much packed into that. Where'd you come up with that? That's brilliant, bro.
Just what we do, man. We just make the thing that we want. We just make, what would be awesome? I got this thing. I got a boot company, right? Like 10-year-old me would be like, "You've made it, brother." Like, so have some fun with it. Have some fun with it. So sorry for that detour. Going back to 2026, man, I'm getting married.
Come on, brother. Congratulations. Yes, that's right. Yes, you are.
March is going to be a good month. I'm getting married to my sweet bride to be, my fiance. I love saying fiance. What a great word, fiance. Natalia. So super excited about that. I know you meant on the business front. So for Chisos, I mean, look, we've got our first general manager. It's been me and a small but mighty team, and so now we got our first GM. We're expanding. We're adding a couple new exotics this year. I don't know if to reveal too much.
Yeah, you don't got to reveal too much.
But, some of them go rattle and you out. So there's some interesting stuff on the line. And we're going to have some fun with it this year. We're going to have some fun.
Man, that is so exciting. I'll just tell you, and I don't know, I'm just speaking the dream that I just see, to me, there is a hole left inside of the American consciousness that is the Marlboro Man.
Oh yeah.
Probably the best marketing that has ever existed was the Marlboro Man. 100%. And, of course, big tobacco can't advertise anymore, but there needs to be a company that embodies that again in the greater American consciousness and moves that forward in a winsome way, in a healthy way that doesn't give people lung cancer. But there needs to be a brand that does that and pushes that forward, because the American cowboy is so iconic and representative of our country. And what I hope, brother, is that Chisos is that company. That's what I hope. That's what I hope. I don't know if it's 5 years, 15 years, or 50 years. I don't know how it all plays out, but that's what I hope for you.
We're on the same page, man. We're on the same. Can I go on a little bit of rant? We got time.
Rant.
I mean, there's the thing. It's like, so let's look at that for a second. Look, that would be the dream. That's the dream. So the dream is how do we build something that's on solid foundation so that we can grow into that, right? And I have no illusions that we are a legacy brand now. I'm building with the intent of crafting our own legacy and becoming a heritage brand. So right now, look, we're the young gun. We got to put in our dues, so to speak. But that's the goal. And the reason is why, right? Which is why. Here's the thing at Chisos. Like, I'll just be unabashed about it. Like, we celebrate Texas. We celebrate traditional values. We celebrate men and fathers and the builders of society.
Yeah.
That's who we're about, right? That's who built this country, and that's who's going to continue to. And Cowboy Boots are wrapped up in it, because those people also are protectors, the providers, and there's an aspect there that we need to embrace, and we need to remember that thing. I mean, look, we kind of forgot it for the past 20 years or so. And there's a return to that. And it starts with us crafting the spaces that we're in, just like Chisos down here on South First. And the next step, I love that you mentioned Marlboro, because I don't know if you know this, but Marlboro used to have, I think it was 10,000 acre ranch out in Montana.
That's wild.
It was spectacular. You could actually win a trip to go there and be a cowboy for a week. I mean, it was incredible. It was a working cattle ranch. And so my dream is that down here in Texas.
Yeah, baby. Now we're talking, big boy.
I'm sure the big boys are probably going to steal. I mean, they probably thought about this. I don't know why they're not doing it right now. Like, I'll throw it out there. You know, if I were one of those bigger boot brands, 100 times my size, you know, I would have 1,000 acres in the hill country.
Yeah.
I would have the overnight accommodation, the flagship store, a working cattle ranch. We would live the actual brand. So the thing is, my dream, I think, is the dream of probably most Texans, is that I want to own a ranch one day. I want to raise my family there. I want to work with the animals. I want my life to be more connected to the land. And so the boots are a gateway for me to get as close to that as I can right now and to work towards that end goal. Cool. And I think that that's the thing that we share with most of the Chisos community.
I love that so much. I mean, I think that is the Texas dream. You know, there's the American dream, and then there's the Texas dream. And the Texas dream, it just moves the American dream a little farther out of town. You know, I want to own a little ranch and be tied to the land and have my family raised there. Man, I love that so much. And I want to see it happen.
And we want to bring everyone in. That's the other thing, right? Is like, this isn't just an exclusive thing. We want to have this open, because I think that people it's like the first time you go to a great work of art or a museum or a beautiful structure, and you see the possibility, and you're and your world just gets shifted, and you get to see it. And I think that that's what each one of us, that's how we live a good life. You know, we clean up our little corner of the world. We live a certain way. And I want to be able to be a part of that and share that vision with people as well. And I think the key to it might be getting Chris Hall on the horse and being the Chisos Marlboro man.
All right, let's go, baby. Let's go. Hey, I'll sign up for that job. I'll sign up for that one, boy. That's exciting now. Well, hey, let's make it happen. And maybe, maybe Chisos just keeps scaling to the moon, or maybe somebody just wants to come and drop just a giant bag of money to make it happen tomorrow. I don't know.
We got to stay independent and small. Small and mighty. That's the way. That's the way.
I love it. Well, man, so be it. Hey, I look forward to seeing that play out. And man, this is such an incredible story, and love what you're doing. And we just want to make sure you'll come back. You'll come back on the show at a later time.
Anytime, sir. Anytime.
Okay. Awesome. Well, we appreciate you, Will. And we thank you, man. We look forward to having you again.
Cheers, Chris.
Okay. Cheers, brother. Thank you. Wow. Man, Will Roman. Whatever is in that guy's coffee, I want it. I mean, that guy, he is exuding founder energy. I mean, it is all over that guy. You can see why Chisos is winning. I've got my pair. It's my favorite pair of cowboy boots that I've ever had. I have owned several pairs. They're doing something on a level product development wise that really sets them apart inside of their space. I know that success on the internet does not only and always come down to product development, but you've got to find your edge. You've got to find your edge in this world that's ever changing every day online. And boy, they surely have found it. I mean, they have made a better mousetrap. They have made a better cup of coffee. And boy, it's truly bearing out in their business. That is awesome to hear. And Will Roman, he's a focused man.